This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, they're somehow still alive in the playoff race. They need the Cubs and the Marlins both to lose today to remain alive when they start their 3-game series with the Chicago White Sox tomorrow in Chicago. Aztecs, they take on Air Force Saturday, 5 p.m. kickoff. 3 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts at Ale Smith Brewing right here on San Diego Sports 760. And week 4, John, of the NFL kicks off tonight in Green Bay as the Lions take on the Packers. And this update has been brought to you by Staples.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Jon and Jim back with you here on San Diego Sports 760, streaming, of course, on the iHeartRadio app as well. We have a great show lined up for you today. Mike Farah at MLB Network Radio. He just interviewed Bob Melvin this week about his relationship with AJ Preller. Mike Farah, great insider, MLB Network Radio. He'll join us coming up at 4 p.m. Miles Byrd, San Diego State sophomore guard, will swing by at 3:30. We're getting closer to November. And Paul Charchian, Charch, our fantasy football insider. Charch will join us coming up at 3:45. Jim just mentioned it in the update. Padres somehow, some way, are still alive. Now, it's not an easy path, Jim, I'll be honest with you. There have this isn't easy. You need 11 results to go your way, plus the Reds losing a series in Pittsburgh. So 3 wins against the White Sox, 4 Cubs losses, 4 Marlins losses, and a Red Series loss in Pittsburgh.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, and listen, the odds of that, if you just flipped a coin 11 times, the odds of you getting it right would be like 1 in 2,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
With all that being said, nobody wants this thing. Cubs have blown leads every single night.
Do the Padres want this thing?
Well, at least the Padres are 11-2 in their last 13 games.
Do they really want
That's a good question. And we can get into that. Like, does Blake Snell even want to pitch Sunday with everything on the line? Does he want this thing to continue?
He's like, no, I don't want to pitch.
But listen, I will actually definitively believe if the Cubs and Marlins lose tonight. If we can get to Friday, 1 weekend away from the postseason, I am all in. It'll be hard for me to do anything other than consume Padres baseball and National League wildcard baseball this weekend. Just got to get through tonight, Jim. That's all the Padres got to do. I have faith.
Easy. I said the only way I'm believing or even considering it is if you get to Sunday.
Okay.
And there's a chance. Like if they're still alive Sunday, okay, there's no choice but to, I guess, you have to believe.
Yeah, what are you going to say Sunday if they're still alive?
That there's a chance, and that then now you're actually okay. This happens. You're down to what, 3 scenarios? That would mean the Cubs, the Marlins would lose, and you have to win. Like that's where you would be.
Maybe the Reds too,
and maybe the Reds,
maybe 4. Good
maybe
point.
The Reds.
Yeah,
but that's where I'm at. And it's also interesting because, dude, you get to Sunday, and they're still alive, which I don't believe that they will be. I think that this thing is going to end here maybe today or the next couple days. But if you get to Sunday and Blake Snell, imagine if Blake Snell this whole time is like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not pitching. And then he doesn't pitch Sunday for you.
That's not happening.
What if,
I'm
though?
saying, well, we said we would make a bet on it. There's
Yeah.
no way.
I want to make
will
a bet.
anything.
I want to make a bet.
Okay. Now we have to get to that point.
I
And
know.
to your point, it's unlikely.
Yeah.
The bet is this. If they're alive after Saturday night, I will bet you $1,400 million.
That's not a lot. No, we're not doing that.
I will bet you anything you want. If they're alive after Saturday night,
Sushi bet?
More than sushi.
What else is more
You
than
will
that?
officiate your wedding if you lose. I will officiate your wedding if you win.
I like how you tell him you can have anything you want, and he says, a rainbow roll.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Sushi bet.
Dream bigger.
But here's the
Deal.
thing. I know if I ask for anything I wanted, like I want a new car. John's not gonna get me a new
I
car.
won't get me a car.
Like I gotta get something obtainable
Okay.
from John.
I'm with you.
Something between sushi roll and car.
No, a $30 sushi lunch.
New couch.
Up to $30.
on a new couch.
I'll get you any sushi roll up to $30. There is no world where Blake Snell does not pitch Sunday if the Padres are still alive. No world. and if there is a world, I don't want to be living in it.
I just am. I'm envisioning, come Sunday, it's like, Blake Snell sitting in his locker, like, wait, I got a pitch? What?
No, that's a possibility.
I haven't thrown my bullpen. I'm done, dude. I'm done. What? You're making me pissed tomorrow?
No, that's a possibility. I joked last night, I think on the wrap-up show, like, is he watching White Sox film right now? On the off day, getting ready for Sunday, or is he rooting for the Marlins?
I mean, Josh Hader's already like, we're in a playoff race.
I know.
What?
But come on. I mean, seriously, you're
Him and Hader in the bullpen watching.
Looking at each other like,
just
dude.
got Marlins caps
Yeah.
on.
But I mean, you're about to cap off a Cy Young campaign. You could potentially pitch your team to the postseason, and that's the day you're skipped for Seth Lugo. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm with you. To get to Sunday is highly unlikely. I'm just saying that if they get through tonight, I'm going to believe. Why is it every time I look at the scoreboard, Cubs are blowing a lead? They're the first team in baseball history to have 7 blown leads. The last time they've had 7 leads on the road or something. And they haven't captured it. It's not like Miami's been a world beater. They lost yesterday to the Mets. Split a doubleheader. So I'm just saying, if the Mets beat the Marlins, if the Braves beat the Cubs, I might order some playoff gear. Is that even available at MLBshop.com? Because if we get to Friday, I feel half decent. Considering where they were 2 weeks ago, I'll take my chances if they can get to Friday. I know you disagree, but does anyone else have faith if they can get to Friday? Or is it just me?
You don't really have faith.
I do. If they get to Friday, I think it's...
Well, then, okay. Then if you get to Friday, then there you go. But you got to get to Friday. So you got 2 huge games happening today, both at around 4:00.
Yeah, 4:10 and 4:20.
Okay. So we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on those.
You better believe it. Be hard to do the show.
I just...
It will.
I think the sooner this thing is done, as soon as this false hope is done, the better. Because the main event is
coming Monday.
Is Monday.
The meeting.
The main event is Monday. Like, this is all just pomp and circumstance here. Like, this is cute to keep you distracted, right? Until the main event, which is the meeting.
By the way, 2 things to your point. I agree with you. The Monday meeting that Kevin Acee reported on, where there'll be someone from Peter Seidler's equity team. There'll be AJ Preller, Bob Melvin, and potentially Eric Grupner as well. I agree with you. And the more I think about what Hector Gomez put on social media today, the more I'm in your camp. Because Hector Gomez today, in a reply to a tweet, said the Padres will make Juan Soto a very good contract offer. This is per Hector Gomez. He went on to say there is a very good chance for him to stay with them. But how can anyone really know that, considering we don't even know what's going to happen Monday with this organization? We don't even know who's GMing, who's captaining this thing
right
on Tuesday.
Who's
so
GMing?
For me, it's hard to imagine that Juan Soto, that anyone has a good feel on what they're going to do with Juan Soto when they don't even have a good feel on what they're going to do with their general manager as of today.
Right.
Don't you agree with that?
Yeah. There are so many questions with this team that the future of Juan Soto isn't even in my top 3.
Right. Well, we have to deal with Preller and Melvin. We've got a $463 million offer we're about to put on the table.
Right. Like, I'm sure the part of the meeting on Monday.
Hey, what do you think?
Hey, should we make Juan Soto a big offer right now?
Right.
When I can't get along with you, you can't get along with me. We're not a happy family.
But what do you think about this Juan Soto 14-year deal?
Yeah. $500 million, Peter. Anybody?
And by the way-
equity people in the room. I know Peter's not here, but you're here on behalf of Peter. Equity members. Would it be cool if we offered Soto a $500 million contract? Who objects? No. Anybody?
Dude, there's no Soto deal until they've got their front office figured out. A and B. There's probably no Soto deal because Juan Soto is likely to hit free agency, even if he were to return to San Diego. Soto, who turned down 440, coming off a good year but not his career best year, for a team that may not even finish 500. That's when he's going to be locked up. He's going to be locked up this October. No, it's not going to happen like that. They need to secure their front office. He is very likely to hit free agency. And even if he doesn't, I mean, who knows? Who knows what it would take for the Padres to keep him? We're talking about the payroll going down, but they're going to sign Juan Soto right now to a 14-year deal.
I saw that tweet from Hector Gomez today.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to take something seriously when he's responding to a tweet from @pimplord_619.
Why? That's all right.
You don't think he's credible?
I don't.
I'm down
with
with, but
Pimp
no.
Lord.
Yeah, but the reply
fair.
could be credible. I understand what you're saying.
No, I get it. And I've seen him on social media, and I got nothing against the guy at all. But like,
if you're
it's just
listening,
funny.
please rip Jim on social media.
It's just funny. The optics of it are funny. Seeing the reply to him, it was just like, wait, what? And then it made a little bit of a headline there. But like, I'm not even my radar is so far off from Juan Soto in a contract extension right now. Like, yes, we've talked about it recently. Like, what are you going to do with Juan Soto? I mean, you have a lot of question marks here. Do they have to trade Juan Soto because your payroll is screwed up? And by the way, that's your fault for doing this. So if you trade him, you just put yourself in this massive mess. Or like, are you just going to keep him next year? And which we agree because they got to win next season. But a contract extension, like I'm more concerned about like what Eric Grupner is going to be wearing to this meeting on Monday. That's what I care about right now. Is he going to be wearing his plaid jacket, or is he going to be dressed to casual? Like, is that what's going to happen Monday?
Or the Bogart jersey from the September 15th giveaway night against the Rockies?
I like that. Are they going to? What time are they meeting? Where are they meeting? Petco Park.
Well, here's the one thing
Zoom?
I know about the meeting.
Is someone going to be on Zoom?
Here's the one thing I know about the meeting: that before there's a meeting, they need to be eliminated. So whenever that happens, we can then put the thing in Zoom. As in, my guess is they're not going to put it on Teams or in Zoom until they're eliminated. So if that happens today, put the thing down 11 a.m. Pacific. If it happens tomorrow, they're not going to put anything in Team or Zoom. So the meeting, you're right, could likely determine who stays and who goes. And that's all that anyone really cares about. This can't be spun. We've talked about it for weeks. Yes, they're 11-2 in their last 13 games. They've got 3 games remaining. They could still finish over 500. But if they miss out on the postseason, which is extremely likely at this point, then you got to deal with the facts of play. The facts of play are this. You were disappointing. You spent a lot of money.
Understatement of the year.
How's this going to change in 2024?
Yeah. Dennis Day with Darren's like, yeah, I don't see it. And what he means by don't see it is Preller and Melvin working together going forward.
But who's going to say, like, is someone going to say, if Peter's not a part of it, hey, guys, figure it out?
Well,
and are they going to say, I'm not going to figure it out?
Seems like he is going to be a part of it. Like, it doesn't seem like he's just not going to have a voice there.
Right.
It feels like Peter is going to be a part of this meeting one way or another. Now, he might not be there physically, but he's going to have some say.
Well, of course.
It's Peter. I feel like we're all forgetting here that the buck stops there. If Peter wants something, he's going to get it. If he doesn't want something, then that's going to happen. You can't have Eric Grupner say, sorry, Peter, I know you want them both back, but I disagree with you. We should fire AJ, so that's what's going to happen.
But this goes back to what I said yesterday. Unless, and this is your original point for like the last month, if Peter is unwilling to make the tough decision, and there's reasons to be unwilling to make the tough decision. If I was in charge, I'd have reservations about doing it because that's my management style. I don't want to deal with it. Now, unfortunately, you have to deal with it if you're the owner, even with the health situation going on. I've said this now repeatedly. I don't think Peter wants to hurt the organization because of his health. Like, it's one thing to be dealing with a health issue. Completely understandable. Absolutely. But there's no world, in my opinion, where Peter would want to hurt his organization because of what he's going through with his health.
So what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is he's not holding up decisions because he's not well. I wouldn't think, hey, guys, I don't want to make it, and I don't want anyone to make it because I'm not in the best condition right now. I think he would allow someone to make decisions on his behalf to benefit the organization.
Well, what if
Peter's not making a decision because he's not well, in my opinion. Why would that's not good for the organization?
But if the sentiment is, which by all accounts, according to Kevin, is that his preference is for both of them to return.
Okay, so that'll be his decision. But that's not because of his health.
No, but what if that's his preference?
Then it has nothing to do with that.
But then it's not agreed upon with everybody in the room.
Yeah, but like you just said, that doesn't matter. It's his room.
True.
It's his call. If it's his call, I'm cool with it. But I'm saying there's not a world where, because of what's going on with Peter, that stops the organization from operating effectively.
Well, let me ask you this. If the decision is made that they're both back, we get that call or the text on Monday, right? Hey, Peter's return, or Seidler has said that AJ and Melvin are returning. And you have mentioned like he's not going to do anything to harm the franchise because of his health.
Correct. Then he's making
Couldn't you argue that by having them both return and saying run it back, that is hurting the franchise because of his health?
I wouldn't argue that. I would say he's made that decision regardless of his health. I would say they're not coming back because he's unwell. They're coming back because that's what he believes to be best for the organization.
What if they're fired? Are you going to not blame it, but say that's part of because of his health?
No, not at all.
So what
I'm saying is I trust Peter to do what's right for the organization regardless of his health.
Okay. And
don't you?
I hope so.
That's my point.
And I think we agree. Maybe what he feels like what's best for the organization is really not what's best for the organization.
Fair. And I think that has nothing to do with his health.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As in, I won't judge him Monday. Let's say on Monday we get the release. You're right. They're both back, or they're both gone, or 1-1. I won't say it's because of his health. I'm going to say this is the decision they made that they think is best for the organization. We may disagree with it, but I don't think we're going to get a release on Monday that they're both back because of his health.
Yeah, the only way that I applaud Peter is if AJ's gone. That's the only way.
Right.
You can't have both back. You can't have Preller back and Melvin gone. You can't. You just that's the only solution here, and it has to happen. Is you got to make the move of ripping that Band-Aid off, and enough's enough.
Are you saying, to put a bow on that conversation, are you saying that part of the reasoning, if they're both brought back, you would have in your head part of the reasoning is because, I wish Peter was 100% healthy, because if he was, maybe this wouldn't be the decision they went with?
I think a little bit of me would think that.
Okay. See, I don't feel that way, but I respect that opinion.
Because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to replace a president of baseball operations and a general manager. President of baseball operations first, and then that person would hire a GM, essentially, right? But you got to get it right. You got to interview people. You have to vet them out. You have to talk to other people about the people that you're interviewing. Like, it is a long process.
No doubt.
So that's how I would kind of view it, is that because he has so much comfortability with AJ, Peter, and that
so it's the easier.
It's not just it's the easier route. I mean, I guess it's the easier route.
It's the less resistance way to continue doing what you've been doing.
Like wanting something to happen so badly that you just continue to go to that well. And it's like, it's not happening. Like, why are we continuing to go down this path when this guy that's in charge of everything has not succeeded for 9 seasons?
Well, I will say this to your point, and I think there's a lot of validity to it. I would say this: if the decision of the organization is to move on from Bob Melvin, at that point, it's like, if you're moving on from Bob,
you move on from everybody.
You move on from AJ. If you move on from AJ, I wouldn't say you move on from Bob. I would hire a GM to determine who he wants to manage, or I would just say, hey, next general manager, like they did with Niebla for Melvin. Hey, next GM, you got Bob Melvin for at least a year.
Yeah. So do we agree the worst case scenario coming out of Monday's meeting is Melvin's gone, Peter, AJ returns?
I feel that way, yes. Second worst would be I guess in this hypothetical, they both return because that means AJ returns.
Yep.
I think we're both okay with obviously Preller being gone. More than okay. There'll probably be a small celebration in Jim's neighborhood. uh, Maybe that's what's necessary, and that's
We
still what's
just,
best.
it's just, look, what's the through line with all of the losing here? It's one guy. So if you want to argue with me, and there's a lot of that on social
Yeah,
media, that
right.
AJ Preller is the greatest general manager and president of baseball operations to ever grace baseball and the history of the sport,
Yep.
just know that, and I hope that those people will be okay with dysfunction and losing to continue. Like, if you want Preller to remain, then what you are saying is you are okay with constant dysfunction and constant losing. That is what you are saying if you are an advocate of AJ Preller, in my mind, is that the constant dysfunction will always remain and the constant losing will always remain. The one thing that will not happen, and we haven't seen it, so there's nothing to go off of, is consistent winning without dysfunction.
Yeah, I would see it like this. Like if you are into like stock risk, typically you're younger and you're willing to have the fluctuation. You have highs, you have lows. Not that they've had that many highs,
Yeah.
but they did have 2022. As you age and as you approach retirement, you want a level of, you want a level of return. You want to be more conservative, but you want the guarantee of a return. You're not getting that right now with AJ Preller. The only guarantee you're getting is, well, there's been a lot of interest. There's been a lot of drama. They've resonated. That's for sure.
Before we go to break here, real quick, if Preller's fired, how long do you think it takes him to get another job as a general manager or president of baseball operations around baseball?
Amazing question. 70470, start it with team 844-570-1360.
That's factor here. We saw it today. Like the Tim Kawakami thing has been referenced on Darren's show, and I read the article. Like, do you think the Giants are looking at this situation with the Padres very closely with Bob Melvin? I bet you they are.
I think Preller would be a GM again, and I think he'd be a GM again within 2 years. Would be my guess.
See, I would disagree.
I know you do. All right, Miles Byrd, the rising sophomore for San Diego State, part of that national championship game appearance last year with the Aztecs, expected to take a much larger role in his second season with the Aztecs. He's going to join us on the other side of a break. We're getting ready for San Diego State hoops at the beginning of November, and Miles Byrd, the sophomore guard, joins us next on Jon and Jim. Miles Byrd, San Diego State sophomore guard off that national championship game appearance, getting ready for his sophomore year. We'll join us next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Somehow the Padres are still alive in the postseason playoff race. It all depends on what the Marlins and the Cubs do today, though. If one of those teams wins, Padres will be officially eliminated. If both those teams lose, they'll still somehow be alive tomorrow, where they take on the Chicago White Sox for their final 3-game series of the season. NFL tonight, week 4 kicks off in Green Bay between the Lions and the Packers. 5:15 kickoff there. And the Aztecs take on Air Force Saturday, 5 p.m. kickoff in Air Force. 3 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. We will be out at AleSmith Brewing for our pregame show. This update's been brought to you by Staples.
All right, speaking of the Aztecs, basketball will get underway in just over a month. San Diego State back on the floor for the first time since that national championship game appearance. It is great right now to catch up with Miles Byrd, San Diego State rising sophomore, part of that national championship game appearance last year for the Aztecs. And with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So, Miles, we appreciate your time. And how has this offseason gone for you as you gear up for your second year?
Yeah, first I'd like to say appreciate you for having me, Jon Jim. The off-season's been good. I mean, I stayed out here this whole entire summer. Just stayed on the little dorm on campus. I did a good job of making my own food, eating healthy, putting on weight. I came in last year a little undersized, so just putting on weight, making sure I'm on top of my things, and just getting there defensively, getting ready to hopefully have some good minutes this year.
And, coming up this season, Miles, your role is expected to increase. What do you expect your role to be on this team with, being behind so many veterans last year?
I think I'm just a guy who can come in, make plays for others, hit shots, and with the way my body's shaped and how I move, I think I just have a lot of defensive upside, whether that be getting in the passing lanes, blocking shots from the guard position, or being able to switch on the bigs and stuff like that. I think just a guy who's going to come out there and work for the team, do everything to help us win.
Miles Byrd is with us right now, San Diego State sophomore guard. Miles, do you know your wingspan? Because I feel like it's really long for a guard.
Last time I checked, it was like 6'11", 7 foot almost.
Wow. Wow.
Pretty good.
Miles Byrd with us right now on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So obviously Lamont and Darion are back. What's the learning process been like for you as you've watched their development, the team's success? What's it been like for you to watch watch Lamont and watch Darion's success?
I mean, last year was a really big year. Not just Mont and Darion, but Matt Brad and Adam Seiko and guys like that, Mike Parrish. I mean, I was able to sit behind and really just learn from a lot of good veterans who ended up going on a really good run. Mont and DC, they make everybody better. Something I'm really grateful for is just the fact that this off season, I've been able to get in some workouts with them, kind of work on my ball handling, work on communication from the point guard spot, stuff like that. So, they 100% make you a better player. And just working with them and working behind them and stuff like that, you just learn a lot.
Miles, you had some pretty big offers coming out of high school. What made San Diego State the right spot for you?
One thing that I had to look at every school was which school was going to help me get to that next level. Everybody wants to play college basketball, but some people's dreams and aspirations are professional basketball like mine. And I knew coming here, I was going to play the right way. I was going to be able to be in a system where I play freely offensively, which is what fits me very well. And not only that, but something that's really underrated is you just come here and you learn defense, and NBA teams definitely value that. Guys who have been here all 4 years, been here 3 years, 2 years, you have that defensive mindset that Dutch and Dave and Acker and Lester and all them implement into you.
Miles Byrd is with us right now, Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760. So take us through the recruitment process. You got San Diego State coaches in the living room. Did you ever envision your first year on the Mesa, the amazing experience that ends in Houston? Was that even in your wildest dreams?
Yeah, I mean, one thing Dave says a lot is, one thing he told me is if you come in here thinking about redshirting, we don't want you here. The way I thought about it is, you come in here thinking about you're not going to get to the Final Four, the national championship, I don't want to go here. And I mean, everybody had that mindset coming in. Everybody knew what our team was capable of. We had so much experience. You had so much skill and offensive superpower and stuff like that with Matt Brad and stuff like that. So I knew coming in here we was going to make a run. It's funny, talking about it earlier in the year, we all said we're going to go to the Final Four. But, it doesn't really hit you until you're in Houston, Texas, in the Texans football stadium with 70, 80,000 people there, just flashing lights. It was crazy.
So what do you?
Something you can't imagine.
So what are you guys saying this year? Same thing, Final Four or national championship? I mean, this is a pretty good roster you got here returning.
Yeah, no, every season we start, that's the goal.
When you go back,
as far as you can.
Miles, I apologize for cutting you off. When you go back to last year, I mean, everyone talks about obviously Lamont shot in the Final Four, but what was the overall experience like for you? That month on the road from Vegas to Orlando to Louisville to Houston. Obviously, everyone's going to remember that moment against FAU. Yeah. I'm sure you'll remember that as well, but are there other moments you take away from that experience?
I mean, there were just so many memories early in the year, with our team that just got us so much closer. I think there's just those moments. There's moments that you wouldn't even think about. It's just practice moments, somebody having a really good practice, our defensive shell drill, us just on the sideline trying to have as much energy as possible. It's those little moments that I think just build you up, build our team together, and we were able to just do what we had to do and get to where we had to go.
Miles, we talk a lot about culture recently on this show, and we've kind of said the culture at San Diego State is one that Brian Dutcher has created to be one of the best cultures out there. How much, I'm not going to say is that preached in that locker room with Brian Dutcher, but when you came here, what kind of, how would you describe the culture of San Diego State, and how important is it to have a really good culture in that locker room?
I mean, I think the way culture comes in, there's different aspects of culture that are really important. With us, I think we had culture on every single level. I mean, the player-coach communication was there. The player-player communication, I think that was probably the closest team I've ever been a part of. include my AAU teams, my high school teams growing up, and just the player-fan communication and, like, the way we love to interact with those people that come out to support us every single game. I think all that together is just a recipe for success.
Miles, the role of your dad in your development, right? Because your dad played at Villanova, had a standout career. He's coached a long time at the Division I level. What role has your father played? And he's got to be so proud to watch your development.
Yeah, no, I mean, growing up, of course, he's coaching. I'm just like the ball boy for the team. I'm just always around. I'm trying to always be around the team. I'm always trying to ask him if I could go to practice, asking if I could skip school to go to practice. You know, he would always shoot that down. But no, my dad's been a huge part of my basketball career. I would say maybe in high school when he stopped coaching, he gave up coaching my sophomore year of high school, and it kind of turned. I don't know how it felt for him, you know, but for me it was really big because it went from my dad who was coaching other players to me being able to come home from my high school games and literally have film pulled up right away. Me and my dad going into the little room, watching some film, breaking down how I could have played better. But, you know, my dad's probably the most important person in my life. He loves watching me play. He loves talking to me about basketball. And our relationship is just built around all of that.
All right. So before you go, I have to ask about this because I'm told that when you were younger, right, like an eighth grader, you're in a TV ad that airs during the NBA Finals. What do our listeners need to know about this? Take us through this process.
So eighth grade, fifth grade, there was somebody that worked with the Warriors who played at Pacific. She was on the women's basketball team at Pacific. She had reached out to my dad. This is in fifth grade. She had reached out to my dad about me helping out the Warriors with like their All-Star voting because NBA players aren't technically allowed to say, go vote for me for All-Star. So what they did is when I was little, I looked a lot like Steph Curry. They had me and a few other lookalikes like Harrison Barnes lookalikes. Iguodala's son did it. Andrew Bogut lookalike. David Lee lookalike. We all kind of just helped out and did like a few short clips for YouTube for like dub the vote, basically trying to get them voted for the All-Star game. And then in eighth grade, same person reached out and said that Kaiser Permanente was looking for a Steph Curry lookalike who was supposed to be around 16, 17. I was in eighth grade, so I was still 12, 13. I'm young for my grade, so I was 12, I think. And like they had Kaiser Permanente had us do like a little Steph Curry commercial. I'm in like the little clip where Dale's getting introduced to Hall of Fame or whatever. And yeah, it was actually a really cool experience. I've met Steph a few times because of my work with them. And yeah, it's something I always remember.
Well, you're now Jim's favorite player because Jim is literally obsessed with the Golden State Warriors and anything Steph Curry related. So,
yeah, so congratulations, Miles. You have now become my favorite Aztec player.
Miles, congratulations on all your successes to this point. We're excited for your sophomore year. We're really ready for another Aztec season right here on San Diego Sports 760. So thanks for your time, and we'll catch up again this fall. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jon Jim.
All right, we appreciate it. Miles Byrd, Jim's favorite player right here.
No questions about it right now. No questions.
I got to find this ad on YouTube.
I have to find it like right now.
We have to find it. We're going to do that at the break. Paul Charchian Charge, our fantasy football insider, gets us ready for week 4. Mike Farron's going to join us in 20 minutes. Great giveaways today. Loaded show. Stay with us. All right, Paul Charchian, our fantasy football insider. He will join us on the other side of this break. Stay with us. All right, let's talk some fantasy football. Week 4 is here. By the way, in about 15 minutes, Mike Farah, MLB Network Radio. He talked about Melvin this week. Mike Farah will join us coming up in about 15 minutes. It's great, though, to have our weekly fantasy insider, Paul Charchian, with us here on San Diego Sports 760, CEO, GuillotineLeagues.com. Paul, great to have you back. But here's the thing. Before we get into anything, our producer, Brent, has to get an answer to this question. He wants to know, how on earth are the Broncos favored this week, coming off a 50-point loss in which they allowed 70 points?
Yeah, isn't that funny how the NFL works? What does that really say about Denver more than anything else, right? That Denver can give up 10 touchdowns and then have that team not even be favored the next week. It's an amazing indictment. And sometimes Vegas tries to lure easy money, and my presumption is that's what's going on here. Is they're trying to get people that have short-term vision, right? And get people to react to emotionally what they saw last week, and knowing that had that line been set a week ago, nobody would have batted an eye at Buffalo being favored. But now that's after a 10 touchdown explosion, it feels like easy money, and it looks like to me Vegas is taking a hedge on this thing.
And staying personal here, Paul, I picked up I don't know how to say his last name, Devon, for the Miami Dolphins, the running back that had like the greatest fantasy week ever.
Yes, and by the way, you don't have to feel bad about not knowing the pronunciation of his name, because he just changed it a couple of days ago.
What?
So, yes, apparently Devon A-Chan is going to change his pronunciation after every 4-touchdown game.
Well,
maybe he'll never change it again.
Maybe. I hope he doesn't, because he did well on Sunday with it. My question is he now a must start at running back or flex for your fantasy football teams, or is this a flash in the pan?
Well, chasing last week's box score is a rookie fantasy move that we do not do on this show. And the Dolphins rolling up 70 on the hapless Broncos was an empty calorie box score from Miami's backups. So he's still the backup to Raheem Mostert, who looks amazing, by the way, the highest scoring player in fantasy, highest scoring running back in fantasy football. And now Denver is, they're going from Denver's run defense to the Bills' run defense for Miami. There's a massive delta between those two. Buffalo, I'll give you some data on this. Buffalo, it's a little unfair, but especially if you take away Breece Hall's one long run against Buffalo in the opener that you may remember, they're giving up 64 rushing yards per game and 3.9 yards per carry, and they just held Josh Jacobs to -2 yards a couple of weeks ago. So this is going to be, I don't think it's an automatic start for Devon Achane, but instead he's a possible flex guy. He's my running back 29 in my rankings, and that means you might have somebody better, but if you feel like you want to try to chase last week's box score, that's up to you.
It's on you. Paul Charchin is with us right now. He's our weekly fantasy insider. So, okay, Derek, 3 weeks in, 3.2 yards per rush, a touchdown on the ground, 51 carries. Is this what we're expecting in 2023, or is a breakout expected?
Well, I'm going to break him down for just a second, in just a second, but tell me this. For both of you, do you believe Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer based on what he's done to this point?
I would say yes off the top of my head.
I would say yes too.
I was leaning yes, and then I started digging in. 8,500 yards at the moment, which would put him near the very bottom of the Hall of Fame runners that are in, and it would also put 19 other runners ahead of him who aren't in the Hall of Fame at 8,500 yards for Derrick Henry. And I think part of the reason I think we think he's had a little more success. It feels like he's been in the league a very long time, but he was very lightly used for those first 2 or 3 years under Mike Mularkey. And then he had the 3 or 4 years that were just gigantic, but it's really just been those. And anyway, to get to this year, the metrics are not good here. And the eye test is not good on Derrick Henry. He's carried the ball 51 times. 51. You know how many broken tackles he's got on 51 carries? 5.
Ugh.
That's it. 5. Jon Jim, that's not the Derrick Henry we've known in the past. In Pro Football Focus's elusiveness rating, only 4 starting running backs are rated lower than Derrick Henry. He's at 0 yards over expectation, which is an NFL stat. Next gen stat, yards over expectation is 0. Get this, and here's the secret crux of this conversation. The backup in Tennessee, Tyjae Spears, the rookie from Tulane, he's got the 3rd highest yards over expectation in the entire league behind Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson. Tyjae Spears is averaging 7 yards per carry.
Wow.
And here's another indicator of change. In last week's loss to Cleveland, Henry was on the field for 11 snaps. Tyjae Spears for 33.
Wow. That's interesting for Tennessee, for an offense that's not great so far. Paul, I've asked you this week a sleeper pick for this week. What do you have there? And also a player that, you don't like the matchup for this week. It's probably a must hit.
Well, Chicago and Denver are the two most underperforming teams in the league, and they play each other. And these defenses are so bad that I think we've got a lot of opportunity in both cases. If you like what Russell Wilson has done, and he's not the problem in Denver at all. He's thrown multiple touchdowns and/or 300 passing yards in every game, including last week. Their secondary is in ruins right now, so I really like Russell Wilson. And in that same game, running back Roschon Johnson is really, really interesting. He's the rookie running back who's been getting a fair amount of work and through the passing game. The Broncos ranked 31st against the run by Pro Football Focus, and they ranked 32nd in tackling by Pro Football Focus. And Johnson's just a freaking beast. He's gigantic, just power back. So now I'm really interested in what Roschon Johnson can do in this game, and I'm actually starting him in one of my guillotine leagues. If you're looking for a player that I'm nervous about, it's Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson goes up against Cleveland. How about this for the Cleveland defense, guys? They rank number 1 in fantasy points allowed to the running back position, number 1 in fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver position, number 1 to fantasy points allowed to the tight end position, and number 1 allowed in fantasy points to the quarterback position. In 3 games, Cleveland's given up 1 passing touchdown, 101 passing yards per game,
Wow.
and -8 quarterback rushing yards.
Oh,
This
boy.
is staggering. Staggering. Nobody's even talking about that in Cleveland or around the nationally about how amazing this Cleveland defense is.
That's interesting stuff. Paul Charchin with us here. Paul, before you go, Thursday Night Football, week 4 tonight. What do you expect here tonight? A couple of 2-1 football teams. What are your expectations?
Points, baby. I think we're going to get points. This is I'm really excited to see what Christian Watson does. So he's expected back. And I'm starting him a couple weeks ago. In part because I love that the Packers are super cautious about returning players from injury. They will usually wait that one extra game to get somebody right. And I love that about them. So I'm feeling pretty good about Christian Watson's hamstring issue. And, last year Watson was the ultimate boomer bust guy, and he probably could be in this game too. This is his first game of the year. But there's some things that make me really want to try Christian Watson tonight. Number one, the deepest passer in the league through 3 games, it's Jordan Love at 10 yards, over 10 yards a pass. So I like that. And Christian Watson, of course, is like just vertical speed guy, right? And then Detroit likely missing starting cornerback Emmanuel Mosley. Starting slot cornerback Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is on IR. And the 2 remaining cornerbacks, Jerry Jacobs and Cameron Sutton, combined, there's just 2 guys. They're allowing 134 yards per game in their coverage. Just the 2 of them. So this feels like an opportunity here for some deep passing, and I'm here because Christian Watson could have that blow-up game.
Week 4 is here as well. Paul, we always appreciate your time. We're going to do this each and every Thursday throughout the course of the football season. Paul Charchin, GuillotineLeagues.com, our fantasy insider. Charch, appreciate you doing it. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it. Again, Paul Charchin with us here on Jon and Jim. All right, there's a lot to get to. Miles Byrd, Paul Charchin, Mike Farah, MLB Network Radio on the other side of a break. Bob Melvin joined him this week. What did he make of that conversation and what Melvin had to say about his relationship with AJ Preller? Mike Farah, MLB Network Radio next. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again. I've been telling you all about Windmill Farms. I was over there yesterday for lunch. Such a great spot. It is the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered for all your game day needs. As you get ready for football this weekend, consider Windmill Farms because of their produce and meats, which are farm fresh, because of their amazing craft beer selection, which I saw for myself again yesterday. Also, they've got that full deli we've been telling you about with the award-winning sandwiches. They really pride themselves on the healthiest ingredients and keeping the prices low. With a sandwich card, by the way, your 8th sandwich is free. If you're hitting it up every single week, you can get a free sandwich every 7 or 8 weeks from Windmill Farms, centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard, across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. Windmill Farms is your family-owned market serving the San Diego area for 20 years. An amazing family running Windmill Farms. You can visit windmillfarmsmarket.com to see their weekly specials. They have them for you there. Or check them out on Instacart and have your groceries delivered to your doorstep. But again, windmillfarmsmarket.com, and a reminder to shop local and to shop at Windmill Farms.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, they're still alive in the playoff race, but it all depends on what happens this afternoon. Cubs, if they win, Padres are eliminated. If the Marlins win, Padres are eliminated. Padres will start their final road series of the year tomorrow night in Chicago. Moving over to the NFL tonight, week 4 kicks off in Green Bay as the Packers host the Lions. And the Aztecs, they take on Air Force this Saturday afternoon/night, 5 p.m. kickoff. 3 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts. We will have a live pregame show at AleSmith Brewing starting at 3 p.m. And this update's been brought to you by Staples.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We patiently await Mets, Marlins, and Cubs, Braves. The Padres, for the moment, alive. They'll need results to swing their way this afternoon, though, to remain alive into the weekend. Mike Farah on MLB Network Radio has been very good to the show over the last couple of years. He's back with us right now on Jon and Jim. And Mike, we always appreciate your time in San Diego. And you spoke with Bob Melvin earlier this week, and you guys were asking about Melvin's relationship with AJ Preller. What did you take away from your conversation and the relationship that Melvin and Preller have had over these last 2 years?
I didn't think that Bob really sugarcoated anything. I mean, I don't know, you guys heard the comments too, right? Like, It was kind of like, listen, it hasn't been smooth sailing. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and I think you can kind of read between the lines on that. Is it unusual for a manager and general manager to get to a point where they aren't on the same page on a lot of things? Yeah, I think that's fairly common. Is it common for it to happen, and if you read, I've read a lot of Kevin Acey's articles over the course of the last week and a half. Is it unusual for it to happen, within the first year? Yeah, I would say that is unusual. So, it didn't sound like things have gone great, and they're two very different personalities. And I think, and I mean this with all due respect to both of them, I do think that there's a stubbornness to both. I think that's part of what sometimes makes people who are really good at their jobs good at their jobs. So the question is going to be now is, how fixable is it? Because you're talking about from a player standpoint, the most respected managers in the game. And for my money, I still think AJ is a really extremely talented evaluator of talent. Now, I think we've talked about this before. I think he could use some help with roster construction. I think some of the personnel around him, he could use somebody who's experienced at that to help putting the finishing touches on. But think about how quickly he's rebuilt that farm system, or how quickly it was being rebuilt while they were trading away the players that they did to get Juan Soto. I think that's a testament to his talent. So you have two talented people who have different personalities, who have different ideas on how things should be done. And the question is, can you get to a point where both feel their voices are being heard? And that's a real question. And I don't know. The answer may be yes, or the answer may be no. And if the answer is no, I don't think it diminishes the talent of either of us. That's something that happens sometimes. It's just that the spotlight's a lot bigger when you payroll $250 million and you're likely to miss the playoffs.
Have you ever seen like this type of situation go on in baseball, as long as you've covered it, where you have the GM or the president of baseball operations and the manager, and they don't get along to the point where it's being described as a civil war, ever work out? Or is this something that is so unique that this is why it's so hard to kind of put a finger on, like, I don't know if they can fix it because we haven't really seen something like this before in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's happened. Like, I think, I don't know how often, like, say, Dan Duquette and Buck Showalter were entirely on the same page in their days in Baltimore together. I hope I'm not talking out of school on that, but I don't think that they always saw eye to eye. And it was a little bit of an unusual situation, right? Buck got hired about a year before Dan did, so like his boss came in and inherited the manager. And listen, they went to 3 postseasons or 4 postseasons in 7 years and went to an American League Championship Series. So I think it is livable. I mean, like, listen, I don't know about you guys. I'm sure that everybody you work with and work for is incredibly smart and gracious and fun to be around, especially your boss.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Yeah. Especially my co-host.
So, like, there's times where you can put differences aside to be able to continue to work together with the common goal. And I think it's just a matter of, like, generally what happens is that there's a breakdown in communication, right? And what you do is you get, and I think this was, the quote that AC brought back up in his piece yesterday from Peter Seidler from a couple of years ago, which was like, we let molehills become mountains. And when you don't talk to each other, that's what happens, right? If you've ever been in a fight with your spouse or significant other, that's something that happens. It's generally something small that starts it out, right? And it's a lack of communication when that happens. So, yeah, I think you don't necessarily have to love the person that you're working with in that. I think it helps too. But I think that you can absolutely have success so long as you can come to an understanding of, this is my position. Here's where I'm going to be intractable. And the other person says, this is my position, here's where we're going to be intractable, but there's still plenty of middle ground that we can come to agree on and work through. And I think that there's ways to do that.
Mike Farah, MLB Network Radio. No, Mike, in my 12-year marriage, I can't think of an example with my spouse that wasn't ideal. No, I'm kidding. Mike Farah.
The first fight I ever had with my wife was over red velvet cake.
Wow.
Like a semantic argument over what it was.
That's how you know you have a good relationship. If that's your first fight, then you're probably doing pretty well.
My first fight with my future wife was over a football game.
Yeah, Eagles-Niners. She's an Eagles fan. He's a Niners fan. Mike Farah is with us right now. Okay, so speaking, Jim kind of said, like, is it unprecedented for this to work with the relationship or the dynamic? Would it be unprecedented, Mike, to bring a GM back that's had as many managerial changes as he's had and had a lack of overall success? There's some sprinkled in. 2022 was really nice. I mean, they made the National League Championship Series. 2020, depends on how you look at it. It was the COVID year, but they beat the Cardinals in the postseason. But overall, 9 years, a lot of bad years, not a lot of even 500 finishes. Like, are there other organizations giving GMs a 10th season off this season?
I mean, they're going to end up finishing probably like 81 and 81, right? Or 82 and 80. So it's not like it was a total disaster, right? They still finished with a winning record. Yeah, I mean, I think, everybody in New York is calling for Brian Cashman's head, which is ridiculous. I mean, Cashman's missed the playoffs like twice in his existence, so maybe it's not a good example of it. Ben Cherington finished last, won the World Series, finished last again, and the Red Sox still wanted to retain him. When they brought in Dave Dombrowski, they wanted them to be a two-headed monster, and Ben decided to go elsewhere. So I don't think from that standpoint it's unusual. And I do think the 6 managers in 10 years is a little misleading. He inherited, much like we were just talking about the situation in Baltimore once upon a time, right? But Black was not his hire, and so then he had an interim manager when he decided to dismiss Buddy. Now we can debate the decision to dismiss Bud, which I didn't think was the right one at the time. Now I admit to being extremely biased because I'm a big Bud Black fan. As both a person and a manager, I think he's one of the best managers people in the league, and I think he's just great at getting along with folks. But I think, he has had 3 people that he has hired in that job, and that's not thoroughly unprecedented. 4 without, with 2 playoff seasons, it's a little unusual, especially when you're going to be on your third manager in 5 years. And the first two had gone to the postseason because remember, Jace Tingler went there in 2020. So I think it's a little bit unusual, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And, gosh knows how many Yankee managers got fired under general managers and George Steinbrenner where the GM maybe stayed the same. So is it unusual? Yes. Unprecedented. That's really hard for me to answer. I haven't done enough research on it. To be honest.
Understood.
Mike, Juan Soto, he's had a really good season. Probably top 10 in baseball as far as, offensive stats go. And there's going to be a big decision, I feel like, with this team this offseason and in the future about how are they going to handle Juan Soto? What are they going to do with Juan Soto? What do you think they should do with Juan Soto, knowing that the payroll is going to be going down, his payroll, his money numbers are going to be way up there? Do you think trading him this offseason, if that is something that is being, going to be discussed, is a wise move?
I don't think it's ever smart to trade franchise caliber players. I didn't think it was smart when Washington did it either. I mean, those are the guys that you extend. Now, that said, I thought Washington did fairly well in that trade in terms of the amount of talent that they got back. So that's kind of my viewpoint to begin with. And understanding that we're already talking about a very top-heavy roster in terms of dollars spent. Some of my question is on the rollback, how much of it is the fact that they've been losing money over the last several years, which I don't think that listen, I think that a lot of times owners' losses are accounting tricks. When you're in a market the size of San Diego and you have a payroll that's, over $250 million, I think it's fair to say that Peter Seidler has been writing checks out of his own pocket to help cover all this, which is like, I'm all in favor of that. Like, I think that's great for owners to do that. So I don't have any issue with them doing that. I don't think anybody should have any issue with them to do that. If some of the minority investors are concerned, I think that's something that needs to be considered. I think the other part of this, and this is the part that I have not seen discussed with this at all, is, the Padres lost their television contract, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And while the league backstopped them to 80% this year, and they have a deal, they are getting a right to be on the games that MLB is producing for them, and there is, a modest influx of cash from the, tens of thousands of, in-market streamers, although the number isn't very big, just to be expected because there's like no promotion for it. That kind of happened this season, right? That I think there's ways to recoup some of that over the next several years. But, and I'll let me take a little bit of a 40,000 foot view here, a 35,000 foot view. I think the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Twins are all in very similar situations. The Pirates, in that they have lost their TV deals for next season for various reasons, right? The Twins contract with Diamond Sports Group, which owns the Bally's, is expiring. The Diamondbacks and the Padres both had them basically turn the rights back over to them because they didn't pay the fees. The Warner Brothers AT&T affiliates are both you're going under. They're filing for Chapter 7, and the Rockies don't have an affiliate for next year. And the Pirates, while Nesson is taking over, I think AT&T Pittsburgh or whatever they're calling it, Root Sports Pittsburgh. I don't think the Pirates officially have a deal yet there. So those are all factors that I wonder if there is some of this is being driven by the short-term uncertainty over how much revenue is going to come in from television, because that's a huge number. And as you guys know, it was well over $100 million the Padres were supposed to get this year. And while they probably significantly less next season. So I think it's a very complicated situation that goes beyond just the baseball decision. That said, man, I'd be hard-pressed to be able to trade Juan Soto 1 year from free agency, knowing that the return on getting him, trading him, is not going to be that great. And if you're trying to fill major league holes, you're probably not doing it with impact in that regard. So I would probably bite the bullet and try and keep him, and knowing that the odds are overwhelming that, one, if you're out of it at the deadline, the cost of acquisition isn't going to be that much different. And two, that there's still that chance that you're going to be able to sign him long term, which is, I would be shocked at the kind of extension based on a year from free agency is representative of likely.
Mike Farah, MLB Network Radio. Mike, before you go, just on field for the Padres in terms of decisions they need to make for 2024. We'll see on who knows who the GM is going to be, who knows who the manager is going to be. But if you were in charge of the Padres, what do they need to do for 2024 as they navigate this roster moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are going to be some holes in the rotation. I think that's going to be a big part. It depends on whether or not they feel like they can afford the options on Waka and Lugo. So you're looking at anywhere from 1 to 3 spots in the rotation that they're going to have to fill.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that those are that. I think you're going to need to find some more bullpen depth, guys that can pitch towards the back end of games that are probably less expensive than what Josh Hader was. And listen, I think they need to address the center field situation. I mean, Trent Griffin's a really terrific center. 2 years of really terrible offense. And I think they need to find a little bit more flexibility, whether it's in right field or center, to give a little flexibility to be able to create more depth to that lineup offensively. It's a very top-heavy lineup. I think those are spots, I think, creating better bench depth, getting more production out of the DH spot, whether it's with the set DH or somebody who can rotate through and play a bunch of different positions or give rest to regular. Those are big spots. I'm a little less concerned about the catching. I think that the emergence of Luis Campusano has helped to answer that question some, but those are kind of the things that I would be looking at. And really, I think most of the flexibility when we talk about the roster construction has been on the position player group. It's very top heavy. There's immensely talented players at the top, but you need more average to slightly above guys in that lineup to help lengthen it out versus the role players that they have had in a lot of those situations.
I heard World Series favorite for 2024 when I heard you talk.
Hey, by the way, Mike, you're actually hired as the new GM of the team.
Seriously.
So congratulations.
I mean, if the MLB Network radio gig, it's a good gig, but maybe you should be running an organization here.
Yeah, I don't think things get better by hiring me. In fact, I think it's the dumbest thing that anybody could do. That's sad. Like living in San Diego, well, that's a bad idea.
Yes.
I'll handle that. But no, I think I would be shocked based on the fact of what we believe from ownership if they didn't find a way to try and make it work for next year with AJ Preller and with Bob Melvin, just based on the fact that that's the wish that they could come back. I guess we'll find out after the season is over.
No doubt. Mike, great stuff. Really appreciate your insight. We'll do it in the offseason. Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, Mike Farah, MLB Network Radio. Would be shocked if they parted ways with either.
Would you be shocked?
No, I wouldn't be shocked.
Me neither.
I'm not going to be shocked with anything.
I won't be either.
I'm not going to be shocked with any of the possibilities.
Yeah.
Both back, both gone, 1-1.
Yep.
The most confounding, I think is the right word, is Melvin gone, Preller stays for me.
Yeah, that to me makes
maybe the most disappointing.
It is the most disappointing. It makes the least amount of sense. It to me would signal you are using him as
you're looking down the wrong path. But would it shock me? No, it wouldn't shock me.
No,
absolutely not.
Nope, not with this organization.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by anything, Jim. I really wouldn't. I mean, if we're gonna find out by Tuesday, I know we will. There's no way it drags on. I think we find out Monday.
Actually, I take that back. I think there is one scenario where I would be kind of shocked, is if they're both gone.
Both gone? Yeah, probably.
I think one of them, the likelihood of one of them being gone is
higher than both gone.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because to replace a president of baseball operations and a general manager and a manager in a pretty damn important offseason while you have a bunch of questions looming, I don't know if they're going to do that.
I don't know if they will either. To your listen, I'm not going to be surprised no matter what happens, but Mike Farah, who literally consumes this every second of every day, kind of like us, says he would be shocked if they didn't do everything in their power to keep the two. Now, maybe someone says, no, I'm not going to do it. I mean, maybe Melvin gets in that room and is like, I'm not working with him. So if he stays, I go. Or maybe vice versa.
I just like, the more you hear, it's like, how is this going to work?
I guess the way it has.
Which is not good. Preller's not changing at all. Okay. He's still going to be that maniac that works 24/7 and just is the complete micromanager that we all thought he would learn from in 2021, which he didn't. Okay. The roster construction has always been an issue for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's not changing. Like, I'm hard pressed to find where the change is if Preller remains. Like, I just, and Melvin, like, I don't know where it changes.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
On the other side, we're going to get to the wrap. By the way, today, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got a $60 gift card to give away to Cafe Coyote. We're going to do that for Trainwreck Radio, a $60 gift card. That's an amazing prize. We have Guns N' Roses tickets to give away today. We'll do that in the 5 o'clock hour. Up next, we're going to get to the wrap. This hour, we'll give away that $60 gift card to Cafe Coyote. On the other side, the wrap. Stay with us. It's Jon and Jim. All right, this hour we have a $60 gift card to give away to Cafe Coyote in Old Town to celebrate San Diego Restaurant Week. Plus, coming up next, we'll get to the wrap. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We are scoreboard watching, are we not?
There we go. Thank you, Jim.
Cubs have a early 1-0 lead over the Braves, top of the first inning. We are in the top of the second inning in New York. Marlins and the Mets are still scoreless there. If one of those teams wins today, the Padres are donezo, eliminated.
If either the Cubs or the Marlins win.
Correct.
Okay.
But the Padres are still going to play baseball tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
They're in Chicago for a 3-game series starting tomorrow afternoon. NFL Week 4, John. Week 4 kicks off tonight in Green Bay with the Packers taking on the Lions. And the Aztecs, they take on Air Force on the road this Saturday, 5 p.m. kickoff. 3 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts, a special pregame show at AleSmith Brewing starting at 3 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. And this update's been brought to you by Staples.
So let's be clear here with this whole, if the Cubs win, Padres are out. If the Marlins win, Padres are out. Cubs have the 1-0 lead you talked about. If there's one thing the Cubs have done as well as any team in baseball this September is blow leads. Brent just talked about it. I think they've had 9 games they've lost this month where they led, including the last 2 days in Atlanta, which were almost like incomprehensible. 6-0 lead 2 days ago, 9th and 10th inning leads yesterday. And they lost to Atlanta. So a 1-0 top of the first inning lead probably isn't over, I would say. And as I say that, it's 1-0 through the top of the first inning.
There you go.
And Brent, you would agree with me as a Cubs fan, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's get to this.
Will San Diego State make another Sweet 16 run in March?
I think as of right now, I'd have to put give them, odds to do it as, yeah, I think they can. You have a lot of the core returning, a lot of infused young talent transfers, Reese Waters, Jay Powell, Miles Byrd, who we just talked to earlier today, Elijah Saunders. Those players are going to be seeing more playing time this season, along with the return of Lamont and Jaden and Micah Parrish and Darion Trammell. Yeah, I'd have to give them, I'll say them like the Sweet 16.
They can absolutely do it. We know about like the agony and the ecstasy of March, essentially. Yeah. I mean, you could lose your first game. Purdue this year's a 1 seed, right?
Yeah.
Or you can make runs. And San Diego State had a really remarkable run. I mean, they were tied with Charleston and Orlando in the opening round with 3 minutes to play. They won that game. Blew the doors off Furman. What they did to Alabama was really impressive. They trailed by 9 in the second half, took a timeout, won by 9. Mm-hmm. Creighton game, Darion Trammell basically at the buzzer hitting the second of 2 free throws in the tie game.
They got to call. San Diego sports got to call.
Okay, yeah, going back to the Elite Eight.
Because that foul.
I thought did he get fouled? I don't even, we need to look at that at the break.
No, he got
fouled.
He got fouled.
Remember the big argument with people was, well, you shouldn't have called a foul.
Because there was only 2 seconds or 1 second.
No,
but it was a foul.
He 100% got fouled. You just.
You're saying you got to break as a San Diego sports fan. Maybe you don't expect it as a San Diego.
I think in those moments, not 100% of the time, that's going to be called.
And then Lamont hits the shot. I mean, it was an amazing run. My point is this: you can be a great team and not make a run.
Yeah.
Or it's just hard to predict. But they're absolutely capable of making another run. I cannot wait for November 6th.
I just got like chills, like thinking about.
It was so cool.
He misses the first free throw.
Oh my god!
And then he makes the second.
I don't think I watched the second go in. I'm serious. I think I just sat there.
And they didn't lead at all against Florida Atlantic.
No, they didn't lead much against Creighton late.
No,
not much.
Not much. And then
and then they pulled to within 5 against UConn with 5 minutes to play. I'm like, here they come.
And you can't feel too upset about them losing to UConn because UConn blew everybody out of the water. And they were easily the best team in the tournament last year. They had multiple NBA players. It is a bummer. It sucks. Like, no one's happy that they lost the national championship. But there's levels here. And usually I would say, well, it's about winning. Doesn't matter. There's levels in making it to a national championship game and getting to within 5 with about, 6 minutes to go?
Yeah, 5, 6 minutes. I mean, it was an amazing run. It really was.
Incredible.
Next question.
Will the Marlins and the Cubs both lose today to keep the Padres playoff hopes alive going into the weekend?
I mean, look. If both of those teams lose today and the Padres are still alive tomorrow, I'll have to almost accept it. Like you need 13 possibilities to happen in a row for this to happen?
You need 11. 4 Cubs games, 4 Marlins games is 8, 3 Padres games. Those 11 things have to go the right way.
And now the Reds
in
too.
Addition, the Reds have to lose 2 of 3. As in the Reds could lose 1 game and you're still alive, but the second they win 2 games, you're not alive.
That's 13.
Yes, but not. Yeah, let's say 13. My point is the Reds, you don't need to go perfect. They could go. The Reds can still win a game and you can get in.
Right. That's the only scenario.
Correct.
Is they can't win 2.
You need like 13 or 14 things to go your way.
They can't. You need like 27 things to go your way.
You need a lot. You absolutely need a lot.
But if we get tomorrow with 2 of those things going the Padres' way, now you only need 11 or what?
Yeah, whatever.
11 things to go your way. It's just so weird, and I equate this to just having false hope. And I'm kind of at the point I'm just like, can we move on here, please?
No,
I know we can't.
Now maybe tonight, potentially, but not yet.
This team's World Series is on Monday. This
potentially
the World Series is on Monday. That's where all the eyes will be focused on with this Padres team. I can't even fathom. I can't even put my mind in a scenario where they're potentially playing next Thursday, like in Milwaukee.
That'll be amazing. I would listen. I am not kidding when I say I will be intently watching if we get to tomorrow and they're still alive. Because at that point, you're almost thinking like, how did they even get to this point? That alone is somewhat remarkable. That maybe the impossible is possible, but they need to get to tomorrow. We'll see if they can get through tonight. Next question.
Who's tonight's Thursday night football game bigger for, the Lions or the Packers?
Bigger for? Well, it's a home game for the Packers, so I would say the Packers.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, they had the largest comeback in Packer history last week, 18 points or something.
It wasn't that big. Fourth quarter comeback.
Fourth quarter comeback. That's what I meant. I didn't mean I meant fourth quarter. Sorry.
Okay.
18 points. Jordan Love went like 20 for 40 and everyone was freaking out about it. Yeah, I would say the home team, that division feels kind of wide open now.
If they get to 3-1 and the Lions are 2-2, it's so early that the Lions are obviously fine. I agree with you. At home, a chance to get to 3-1, division rival. What's the line in this one, roughly, Brent? It's
probably 3.5, maybe.
Has anyone looked that up?
3. It's got to be like 3, right?
I'm with you. Right? You're saying Detroit by 3 or 4 on the road?
No. Oh, Detroit by 2.
Okay, yeah, it's similar. Yeah, I think more on the line for a good opportunity for the Packers tonight at home.
Yeah,
well, I think it's more on the line for Green Bay because this is the first like actual good team that they've played.
True,
because like they played the Bears, who
they're good.
Yeah, they're good at being awful. And then they played the Bears, they played the Falcons, who they lost to, and then if Derek Carr didn't get hurt last week, I don't think there's any way they beat the Saints. So, this will be their first actual test, and they've lost 3 straight to Detroit. So,
next question.
What are the odds that the Padres sign Juan Soto to a long-term extension?
By the way, Mike Farah just said 0. But this offseason.
I will say the same odds the Padres still have to make the postseason.
0.1?
0.0001.
Okay.
Whatever the decimals.
Braves lead 2-1.
Oh my
Braves lead.
What is happening?
Braves lead, Padres fans. Exactly what you wanted. Matt Olson just inside the foul pole. 2 outs.
3-1 or 2-1.
You remember all week when everyone's like, oh, they'll win because the Braves will just play all their scrubs all week. They haven't done it yet.
The Braves literally clinched the 1 seed last night. And they lead tonight. At home, they are favorites tonight against Marcus Stroman, who just allowed the 2-run home run, I think, on a 3-2 pitch.
What an incredible year for Matt Olson.
Yeah, it's been a nice year.
And
that 53 or 54 homers now?
He was off the foul pole.
That was the one player I really wanted the Padres to go after for the Oakland Fire sale this past offseason.
You should be GM.
No. Like no one thought Matt Olson would have been a perfect fit here.
But I like that.
Hey, instead, let's just have Jake Cronenworth move over to first base, give him an $80 million contract, and let's give Xander Bogaerts, who is in his 30s now and doesn't have really much pop, a $280 million deal.
If they move on from Preller, do you want Mike Farah or Jim Russell?
I'd be horrible at it.
Or maybe you're the GM, he's the president of baseball operations. You would wake up at 11 a.m. as the general manager on deadline day.
Like what I missed today.
Yeah, what I missed. Everyone's been shredded.
What's your % chance of them signing Juan Soto?
This offseason, 0.
Okay.
I find it incredibly unlikely with the payroll things we've been talking about that's going to be their first order of business. So I find that very unlikely. On the other side, call right now if you want a $60 gift card to Cafe Coyote and to play Trainwreck Radio. That's trivia. First 2 callers will be our contestants. So call right now if you want that $60 gift card to Cafe Coyote, 844-570-1360. Again, the number to call, this is a great giveaway, is 844-570-1360. First 2 callers will be our contestants. $60 gift card, Cafe Coyote. This is in Old Town to celebrate San Diego Restaurant Week. Jim loves the place. Have I been there?
Probably not.
I love it. Do I love it?
Mexican food?
I love Mexican food.
There you go.
And I love Cafe Coyote.
The fresh tortillas that they make outside.
Oh,
you can
yes.
watch them make the tortillas.
I love that.
Oh.
Well, anyway, $60.
So good. Margaritas.
You love margaritas.
The chips and salsa. Like that's look, if you go to a Mexican restaurant and they don't give you chips and salsa complimentary to start out with, it's not a good Mexican restaurant.
Jim, what restaurant on earth in America doesn't give you chips and salsa that serves Mexican food?
Trust me, I've been to some.
Name them. Call them out right now.
I forgot their names because they were so bad.
Okay. 844-570-1360 Trainwreck Radio.
Forgot their names because they went out of business.
Exactly. Trainwreck Radio is next. All right, Trainwreck Radio on the other side. Plus, the 5 o'clock hour, we're giving away Guns N' Roses tickets. Don't go anywhere. All right, so Marlins and Mets are scoreless bottom 3. These are teams that are trying to make the postseason. Not exactly playing the most inspired baseball of their seasons. Marlins and Mets scoreless. Mets have nothing to play for. Braves literally clinched the number 1 seed last night. Nothing to play for theoretically, but one of the best teams in baseball. Now leading the Cubs 2-1 through an inning or through an inning and a half. So we'll keep you updated. If the Padres get the right results, a Braves win, a Mets win, they will live to see the weekend in Chicago alive. Remarkably. Is that why Darren's going to Chicago? He's just counting on this happening?
He saw this in a vision, and he's like,
I can feel it.
I'm going to Chicago.
They're going to win 12 of their next 13 and be 3 back with 3 to play.
I'm going to Chicago, guys, because I believe the team will be in the playoff race.
Imagine if he's in the clubhouse Sunday afternoon. Padres heading to the postseason straight to Milwaukee.
It's like, hey, Marty, what's up?
That Monday meeting postponed. On our way to Milwaukee.
I mean, do you
what?
I don't know. Here's my thing. If they're alive tomorrow, do you think that
commercial free
they're bringing like potential playoff gear with them just in case?
Well, how are they going to do that?
I mean,
they're already on the road.
Yeah, but on the road, you get like playoff gear and like the hats and the shirts. Do you think the hats and shirts are like being made as we speak if they're alive?
Not yet. No, I think they're going to make those things Saturday night.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a great question.
When are those things being made?
Right. When's the that's a good point. Do you bring the champagne to the ballpark if they're alive Sunday? You have to.
You kind of have to.
You kind of have to.
Are the shirt? I want
those shirts are going to be like me and a Sharpie. We're going to the playoffs.
I want a shirt, dude.
The shirts and hats are made. They're just in a pile now. They just don't know if they're going to some third world country or if they're going to go to wherever the Padres are going.
I need to see potential playoff shirts and hats. Just
we
oh
did
my
it?
God,
Question mark.
We are in. What the hell happened? We're
amazing.
In. We're going to what? What? Seth Lugo starting game 1. Well, maybe it might be Blake Snell because he's just like,
I was going to take off Sunday.
What if Snell's like, yeah, I'm not pitching the postseason either. Screw that.
No, that's not happening. Dude. It's not happening.
He wouldn't do that. I could see Sunday as a possibility, but not the postseason.
By the way, Cubs, Dude just dropped a ball and left.
Okay, I have no faith in the
Legit
Cubs
dropped
anymore.
a ball.
I have zero faith in the
Yeah.
Cubs to win just one game.
Yeah, in and out of his glove.
One game. You have to win one game, and you can't win one game. Now, look, they need to win more games because they got to compete with other teams. But just for the Padres' sake,
yeah, you don't want them to win one game.
I know.
That's why I'm on board with this, and that's why I've been ripping you on Twitter.
You're like,
Let's
Jim,
get to
the
it.
Cubs won, lost. I mean, idiot.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Dan and Ryan. Dan, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Big Bad John.
Big man Jon. I'm not overly big.
All right, Jon, who picked
Dan.
you? There you go.
Dan.
Good job.
Yeah.
Ryan, that means you get me, all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Let's see if we have any guesses of Joe McStoolberry today.
That's right. Yeah.
Brent,
Yeah.
Brent, what's today's question of the day?
All right, as we talked about a little earlier, it's the Lions and the Packers on Thursday Night Football tonight. Jordan Love is currently 27th already in Packers history with 1,261 career passing yards. Today's question: can you name the 6 Packers quarterbacks with 10,000 or more passing yards?
All right, I got 3 in my head.
Okay, 3 of them are gimmies. The rest are
A little tough.
There's no gimmies on this list.
Ryan.
Is that for you and me, John?
Well, hold on. So, hold on, guys.
Yeah.
How does this work, Jim?
All right, Ryan, you're up first. What is your first guess? And you do have your lifeline, which is me if you choose to use it.
We got to go large Farva. Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Okay.
Dan, you're next. What's your first guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
No, I'll guess Bart Starr.
Bart Starr.
Is he on the list? He is.
There we go. Ryan.
I can't
This
see
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. There you go.
10,000.
See, Ryan got a massive advantage in this game today because he went first.
3-1 Braves.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
Now, do I get just one lifeline pick?
Just
and
one.
then-
You
or
just
do I get to reuse John?
no. You
No,
just
you
get
can't reuse
one
me.
lifeline. So if you want to use it here,
Oh my goodness.
if you want to use it.
Yeah, let's use it.
I have no idea. I'm trying to think of any other player that's ever played quarterback.
Right.
That's it's the quarterback before Brett Favre,
Yes.
and I have no idea who it was. I think it's back when the Packers were playing half their games in Milwaukee. You're going way back.
That's a terrible question.
Who'd you say?
5
Terrible
seconds.
question.
Okay, I'm gonna say Peter Longenhan.
You're such an idiot.
Peter Longenhan. Did you take that?
Just.
Okay.
What is happening
Yeah.
right now?
He was top 10.
Okay, Ryan, you could end this thing if you can think of a quarterback that's not named Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, or Brett Favre. And you have a lifeline, but what do you got?
Oh, yeah, I can visualize the early 90s or late 80s one, but I don't know. I'll give my lifeline to see if Jim, you can help me out at all.
I mean, yeah. I got nothing, dude. I have literally nothing. So
No, you have to have someone.
I'm not gonna say some stupid random name like Bart Largenhan or something.
Is that your okay? Do you take Bart Largenhan?
On the list. I win.
No. Okay, you have 5 seconds if you don't want to go with Bart Largenhan.
No, Harold Puffin Puffer Steenberg.
Oh no.
Oh, dang it.
Oh god.
So where are we? Dan can tie it with the correct answer.
Just Dan, what you're up, dude. What do you got?
You know, I've already used my lifeline because I had nothing. I pretty much still have nothing. Geez, you know, this is a tough game here. You want us to name 6?
No. I just want you to name
just
one right now. What?
5 seconds.
Oh, geez.
Wow, Paul.
Right team.
Paul Horning.
What are we doing?
You're so stupid.
I
You're
am?
like Paul Longenhan.
No, dude. Better than not saying anything.
Well,
I should have said like Randall Cunningham. Just to say a
You're
name.
like Steve Young.
Yeah.
He
All right,
played for
who's
the
up?
Packers for like a minute.
Who played quarterback before Brett Favre?
I don't know.
That would be Don Mikowski.
No one would have guessed
Magic,
Don
whatever,
He's
Magic
the
Man.
Magic Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wasn't
remember
guessing
him.
that.
He got hurt in the Bengals game.
Yeah.
All right, Favre was number 1. Then Rodgers was 2. Starr was 3. Lynn Dickey was 4.
Lane Dickey.
Tobin Root was 5. Mikowski was 6.
All right, congratulations to Ryan. You've won a $60 gift card to Cafe Coyote. This is in Old Town to celebrate San Diego Restaurant Week. It's going on now through October 1st with over 100 of San Diego's finest dining establishments, a diverse range of cuisines from farm to table to international flavors, multi-course menus starting at $20. Visit SanDiegoRestaurantWeek.com. Padres fans, I can't even react to that. Do you still have faith? The Padres, as we speak, remain alive. Do you have faith or not? What happens come Monday when Grupner, Preller, and Melvin get in a room? It's going to be hour 3 of Jon and Jim. We'll react to everything going on the other side. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Got to do it. Scoreboard update. Braves now lead the Cubs 4-1 in the top of the third inning there in New York. Marlins and Mets are scoreless heading to the bottom of the fourth inning. Padres need both of the Marlins and the Cubs to lose today to have, I guess, still a chance and still be alive tomorrow when they start their final road trip in Chicago versus the White Sox. NFL tonight. About 15 minutes from now, week 4 kicks off between the Packers and the Lions. And the Aztecs, they take on Air Force, looking to end their 3-game losing streak. Head out on the road, 5 p.m. kickoff. Our pregame coverage starts at 3 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Special live pregame show at Ale Smith Brewing. And this update's been brought to you by Staples.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 3 of Jon and Jim, and the Padres still have a pulse. As Jim just told you, Atlanta leading. That's good news for Padres fans. It's 4-1 in the third inning. Miami and New York, the Mets at Citi Field. You need a Mets win if you're a Padres fan. There is no score in the bottom of the fourth inning. In the top of the fourth inning, old friend Josh Bell grounded into a double play to end the inning for the Marlins.
This is happening.
Dude. It is okay. If this happens, this is a serious question for Jim. Because look at Jim. If you're watching on YouTube, Jim's literally freaking out right now. He's like, I'm not paying attention until Sunday. I talked to Darren about that for 2 minutes before you came in. We said that is such a lie.
Yeah.
We know Jim is going to be pacing.
Yes.
Obviously
pacing.
So what are you going to say? And again, the odds remain incredibly unlikely. What will you say on Monday if the impossible happens? The Padres make the postseason. Remember, you've advocated long and hard for a change in direction. AJ Preller.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what will you say? What will you say? I'm fascinated right now. What will you say?
Reschedule that meeting, boys.
If your narrative has to change because the Padres pull off something that's almost impossible.
Look, I think there's this narrative that I am rooting for the Padres. Like,
correct.
I don't want them to make the postseason.
Right. Maybe I'm playing into that narrative.
You're playing into that narrative of a lot.
Right.
And that's not the case at all.
Right.
It's not the case at all. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is a possibility until it becomes a real possibility, which would only happen if they get to Sunday with a chance.
Okay.
That's how I'm not actively rooting against the Padres at all. I've always said I want the Padres to win. Like, I want them. I want the Padres to win. I wanted them to win this year. I wanted them to make the postseason, but like they're not that team. I'm not
sure, Jan, or whatever's that like. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna smack you.
I'm kidding. But listen, I mean, people follow you on social media. People listen to the show, right? I mean, I'm saying like it would be a bit of
oh, I'm sorry. I was critical of a Padres team.
I've been critical of the Padres.
79 and 80 on a season.
I've been critical of the Padres.
$250 million payroll.
I've been critical of the Padres. I'm just saying, that's why I'm saying, what would you say if they got in?
I would laugh.
You would laugh.
Because of how improbable it would be to get to that point. And then you shift to playoff mode.
Excuse me?
You shift to playoff mode.
Oh, wow. Yes, right. Exactly.
That's what you do.
They get those T-shirts ready.
Like, if you make the postseason, it's like, okay, let's go. Here we go.
That's correct.
Who's starting game one?
Blake Snell. Maybe not. If you
maybe
need
not
Sunday.
Can Blake Snell pitch on 3 days rest if he has to start Sunday and they get into the postseason next Thursday or Friday or whatever the day it is?
Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's very quick.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll look that up. But yeah, it does. It starts Tuesday. Yeah. In fact, Milwaukee will host a game Tuesday. That's already.
All right. Seth Lugo starts game one.
Yeah. If you get in. Now, again, I'm with you. There's a long way to go. But, dude, we've been saying for 2 weeks, the UT tweeted the last time the Padres lost, whenever that was, 3 days ago, the UT tweeted Padres are eliminated from playoff contention.
I know.
Fangraph still has their odds at 0%, but they actually do somehow have a pulse.
Does Joe Musgrove decide I should probably get back to this one?
Has he been throwing? I don't think so. I don't think we'll see Joe Musgrove if I was guessing.
I mean, if the Padres make the playoffs, dude, does that change things? Does it change things with Melvin and Preller?
Yeah, I think it changes a lot. But I still don't think they're going to get there. But again, you have to at least throw out the possibility based on what's going on each and every night is they get the right results. And that's happening right now.
Let me ask you this, Padres fans.
Okay. Yes, throw it out there for the phones.
Do you want to see this team? I mean, it might be the obvious, you're an idiot. Yes, of course.
You're an idiot.
This team with no Joe right now. Okay. Manny's on, playing with one arm. No Cronenworth, no Gary Sanchez, no Yu Darvish. Do you want to see this team make the postseason this year?
Warriors fans, do you want to see the Warriors win the finals? 844-570-1360.
That's not the same question.
I know, I'm kidding.
Like a limping, just animal. Do you want to see that? Do you want to see them in the postseason?
A limping animal that would be 14-2 in its last 16 games against some of the great teams in baseball.
Yeah, those A's and Cardinals and Rockies and White Sox.
Even historically, not this year.
Right. 844-570-1360.
Are you going to be if the Padres get to Sunday?
No one's going to root for them to lose.
No. I mean, I'm trying to. How do I phrase this? Because
you're saying, is it a win a battle, lose a war because Preller's back?
Yeah. Do you want them to limp in at 82-80? Because that's the record they're going to need to have.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's fine with you. Everything's fine. Everything will be fine. They make the playoffs. We're good. We're all good here. We made it at 82-80. We got in on the last day of the season.
That's
we
what
needed everything to go right
but
for
it's
us.
Black and white for me. It's good if you're in, bad if you're out. There's still a 99% chance they're out, even with these results. Maybe 98%. It's high likelihood they're eliminated. But in the non-zero world, which we're living in, it's not non-zero.
Yeah,
right, or it is non-zero. They haven't been eliminated.
Just so crazy to me to think that there's I just to have put my mind and get prepared and ready for next Tuesday in Milwaukee in the wild card round.
I know.
You're like, whoa. I don't even know if they are in the right, I don't know if every single one of those players are thinking Tuesday in Milwaukee.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter if they're thinking Tuesday in Milwaukee. They'll be there. They're not going to be, I scheduled a trip to Cancun. I mean.
No, I know that, but I'm talking about the mindset right now.
The mindset, I think, is pretty good because they're 11-2 in their last 13 games.
Yeah, some of them, and there's a lot of hey,
this is why Manny didn't shut it down. I said Manny should shut it down.
I said Manny should shut it down too.
And I felt that way strongly in the moment because they were 10 back with 20 to play or whatever it was, 8 back with 15 to play. But to their credit, Bob Melvin said they wouldn't quit. They haven't quit. So, it would be I said this last night on the wrap-up show. This would be the most improbable run to the postseason of any team in the history of baseball. And I still feel that way. I really do.
And even if they did do that, I don't think it changes the fact that there needs to be some serious discussions after they did it.
Oh, there'll be talk. There'll be talk. I mean, it would be amazing. It's something
that a banner for making the postseason as a wild card team at 82-80.
100%, right?
I think they do.
I think you have to. By the way, the Braves have just continued to tack on potentially.
What's wrong with your Cubs, bro?
Here's the thing with the Cubs, who, by the way, close where, Jim? Let's look at these schedules now.
All right.
Because the Cubs are losing to
Milwaukee.
Atlanta. They close in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's got nothing to play for.
They've
But that's
locked
what
up.
everyone said about the Mets.
That's what I was good.
Or not
Well,
the
that's
Mets,
what everyone
the
said about the
Braves.
Braves. Milwaukee's just a really good baseball team.
Stroman's already out of this game. Wow.
Okay, so you have that in Milwaukee. Where do the Marlins finish? Cincinnati is in Pittsburgh, right?
The Marlins finish with the
Pirates.
No, is that right? I thought Cincinnati closed with.
No, Cincinnati.
No, Pirates.
Who's Cincinnati have?
Cardinals.
Oh.
Yeah, Marlins in Pittsburgh versus the Pirates.
Marlins in
Reds got
Pittsburgh.
Cardinals.
Okay.
Marlins, Fish got.
And right as of now,
Mm-hmm.
it is looking like a bunch of TBDs for
He's
the
had a very nice year.
Marlins and Pirates series.
All I know is this: the Pirates have played a bit of a spoiler, have they not?
They're
They
like
came
the
back
greatest
from-
spoiler team in the history of the sport.
Look at it this way: if not for their 9-0 come from behind win against the Reds,
I mean, even though they've lost 3 in a row, but just
but they're all good games to the Phillies.
Yeah,
Or a couple of them have been good games to the Phillies. So all I know is we're going to be. I mean, I'm refreshing. I'm watching. We got MLB Network on right now. They got Cubs Braves.
Phillies have won 7 in a row. Wow.
I'm watching Mets Marlins on game day. Scoreless
On game
in the
day.
top of the 5th inning. Yeah, MLB game day.
This is wild, guys.
It really it's not wild yet. But to your point, if it's Saturday, it's wild. Like if they get through today, yeah, that's somewhat wild if they get through today.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they get listen, Manny Machado, who told us this, or did we read this? Manny Machado said yesterday to someone, was it Kevin, that they were inspired by the Cubs losing last night. When they took the field, they saw the Cubs had lost. They're like, we got
let's
something to
go
play
win
for.
one for
San Diego.
San Diego and the extra innings for first time.
Did we even mention that?
Talked about that. What's wrong with us?
Well, who cares? Because all that matters is do they get in or not.
They actually did it.
They
last
did
night.
it. They finally snapped that 0-12 extra inning drought.
And it was kind of how, if you're in extra innings, like, hey, you couldn't have done that before.
Right. This is how it should have gone before.
Like, we move runner over to third. We
Get
get
him
him
in.
in. We
sack fly. Beautiful.
then have a base hit. Gets moved over to second because of a throwing error. Get a base hit, brings him in.
Single.
Another error. Like, I know it's not, the errors aren't there, doing.
Yep. Even
but-
without the errors, they would have scored.
But they took advantage of the opportunities that were in front of them and they scored. They didn't have like, the Giants have recorded 2 errors or something, and the Padres didn't score like they usually would have done.
Mm-hmm.
They actually took advantage of it.
They did.
And so you're like, wait, what? And it's so funny because the final out, I don't know if you were listening to the broadcast.
I was.
Did you
What'd they say?
hear who
Jesse?
was screaming?
I didn't hear anyone scream.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to that.
Because the final out was, I think, a ground ball to Xander. And all I heard was just someone screaming their head off. And I think it was from somebody in that dugout. Because everyone knew. I mean, everybody knows. Look.
Because we've done it. We've snapped this long losing streak in extra
Like,
innings.
we finally done it.
Right. We've got this huge monkey off
just the monkeys off the back.
Right.
And everyone acting like, they won the World Series. They won an extra inning game. It's kind of it. I mean, they're not going to be the worst team ever in the history of baseball in extra innings now. So that's good.
No, now they're good at 1-12. It
1-12
would have been
fine.
fitting both ways. If they
gosh.
lose it, it would have ended their season. We said, well, of course, because they're winless in extra innings. But to win it, to extend your season, is a little bit of an oddity since they were 0-12 in extra innings. So they've kind of checked the boxes here in September. 4-game winning streak, check. Extra innings win, check. Can they check that playoff box? Probably not. But as we sit here right now, it's still possible, albeit unlikely. I would have told you coming into today, Cubs or Marlins, someone's going to win probably. At some point, the luck's going to run out. But, I mean, to this point, it hasn't.
Yeah, and by the way, it's the Padres kind of have a little bit of a test this weekend, pitching-wise matches up.
Okay, what do they have this weekend in Chicago?
Yeah, Dylan Cease.
Yeah, who's solid. He hasn't had a great year.
And has anybody seen what Mike Clevenger's done this year?
Amazing year.
Like, what?
Amazing year.
He's like 9-8 with a 3.5 ERA.
3.40.
And I think 2 starts ago, he pitched a complete game versus the Nationals.
Not easy.
1-run complete game.
Who pitches for San Diego? You have Michael Wacha in there.
Wacha. You also would have let's see here, Nick Martinez tomorrow. That's interesting. And then
then the big Sunday question.
And then you got Wacha, and then the big Sunday question.
Is it Snell? Is it Lugo?
Yeah.
And how could it not be Snell if you're alive? And by the way, if you're not alive, it's not Snell.
Yeah. And Sunday, guys, they're facing off against the White Sox have scheduled Jose Urena
Yeah.
Listen to these numbers.
I'm listening.
He's 0-7 with a 7.45 ERA.
Imagine if let me put out this hypothetical for everyone.
Gosh.
Let me put out this hypothetical. By the way, Marlins threatening, but with 2 outs. First and third, scoreless game in the 5th at Citi Field.
Oh, boy.
Let me throw out this hypothetical. The Padres actually controlled their destiny come Sunday afternoon. They're in Chicago. The results have gone their way, and they lose to Julio Urena, or whatever his name is.
Jose Urena.
With Blake Snell, Urena. 2 ERA, 8 ERA.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm looking at the times, okay.
That would be the worst possible.
So these games would be happening
all at the same time?
All at the same time.
I love that. I do. I like that a lot.
That's, I think, what baseball...
I think they try to do that.
Baseball does that for a reason.
Is every single game, East and West, start at the same time?
Every single game starts at the same time.
Yeah, I like that.
East and West. 12 Pacific.
Bases
every
loaded.
Game.
2 outs for the Marlins.
My gosh.
Scoreless game in the 5th.
Like I'm kind of the longer this thing goes on, the more I'm like, I kind of want chaos. I kind of want just like the ultimate chaos scenario, even though I don't believe it's going to happen, and even though that I hate the false hope that is being portrayed here. But
can you imagine that quad box? Imagine the four. So the imagine box. This. Imagine the final day.
Oh my gosh!
If the Reds, Cubs, or Marlins win, you're out. But all 3 of those teams are playing at the same time as you. So you'd have a quad baseball box on a Sunday afternoon, week 4 of the NFL season. That would be unbelievable drama. For me, I'd be glued to that. If they gave that to me, I don't think I could get the quad box, to be honest. But I'd be glued to that. The Cubs are they're just fumbling away their season.
They're Brent, bro, this is a disaster.
For the Cubs, it is. What do you got, Brent?
The text line 619. Oh, where'd it go? I just moved on. I feel like Jim. Okay, 619.
Thanks.
Last year, beating the Dodgers was our World Series. This year, winning an extra inning game was our World Series. Call it progress.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, not the progress you're looking for.
Not really that much progress.
Kylie McDaniel, ESPN.com, wrote today, top 5 last year in extra innings. The Padres were. They're 30th this year. They were number 1 last year in one-run games. They're 30th this year in one-run games.
Is that good?
So that's kind of done them in a little bit. That they've been really bad.
Who's this guy pitching for the Cubs?
Who knows? Cubs have lost.
He doesn't even look like a baseball player.
He's awesome.
Assad?
Yeah, he's got decent numbers.
Come on, Jim.
I can tell.
There's a reason why you don't do a Cubs wrap-up show.
There is a reason why, because I don't watch the Cubs.
Right. So anyway,
chaos.
We came into today.
Chaos.
We came into today. I thought there were 2 overarching storylines, in addition to this 1 in 1,000 possibility that's becoming more likely as the days and hours pass. There were 2 storylines. The meeting on Monday, if that meeting occurs between Preller, Melvin, Grupner, and potentially others, and then Hector Gomez, who wrote earlier today, hey, the Padres are in a good spot with Juan Soto regarding an extension.
Oh, the Mets got out of it.
Scoreless to the bottom of the 5th inning. Good news. Padres fans. Bases loaded.
Chaos. What did you say?
I don't know.
Jeff Passan?
I did not say that.
Oh, you said Hector Gomez?
I did.
I knew it was something to do with Juan Soto.
Yeah.
My bat signal was like Juan Soto.
Yeah.
But I wasn't listening.
You think the Padres are watching these games together
That's
right
what Manny
now?
said. Manny said they're watching these games, dude.
They're at Harry Carey's.
Wherever they're in Chicago, he said that they're going to be watching these games. I don't know. Wait, hold on.
Oh,
hold on.
Wait a second.
Hold on.
Wait a second.
Somehow the Marlins now have a 1-0 lead.
Even though the inning ended?
Off of fielder's choice out by Francisco Lindor to second baseman.
Some probably got reviewed.
Brian De La Cruz scores.
Brent, I need details.
What is happening?
I don't know. This is the problem with the game cast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you ever watch something you really want to be watching and you're watching it this way? Like, it's so annoying. In play, no runs. In play, out. We've all been there, right? I'm reading a book to my 4-year-old. I'm reading Curious George. It says in play, out, or in play, no runs.
How'd that happen then? How can you get a fielder's choice with 2 outs?
And the base is loaded.
What?
Right. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Is this even accurate?
I'm confused.
I don't know if this is accurate, Jim.
It says the Mets are challenging the call.
If the call of the 3rd out ends the inning, we need to see this. Go to Twitter. Find this thing on
I'm
Twitter.
trying.
Find this thing on Twitter. All right, here's what we're going to do on the other side, because there's a lot to get to.
I do want to get to this Jeff Passan thing.
From yesterday?
From today, when he spoke about Juan Soto. I know we talked a little bit about it, but he also spoke on the record about it.
Did he? Wait, I thought we played something yesterday, because I think I took it out of the rundown.
Oh, wait, what?
No,
we didn't play it.
What?
We talked up. We you know what we did? We played it, and immediately when it played,
Okay.
Kevin Acey's article dropped.
Okay, so you want to react to what Jeff Passan had to say?
Yeah.
That's fair. We will do that on the other side. Jim's back page is still ahead. Guess what we're also doing next? We're giving away Guns N' Roses tickets. So do not go anywhere. We'll give away Guns N' Roses tickets just a couple of days from now at Snapdragon Stadium. Do not go anywhere. We'll give away Guns N' Roses tickets next. Also, we'll react to what Jeff Passan had to say about Juan Soto's future. Is it in San Diego or elsewhere? Do not go anywhere. Guns N' Roses tickets. We'll give them away next. Jim's back page still ahead. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres are still alive. Scoreboard right now, the Braves are all over the Cubs 5-1. And this Mets game is the longest review in the history of the freaking sport. It was 1-0 Miami, but now it is back to scoreless after a 30-minute review. We are in the bottom of the 5th inning in New York, scoreless there. Padres need both the Marlins and the Cubs to lose in order to still be alive when they take on the White Sox starting tomorrow afternoon. NFL kicks off week 4 is underway. Right now we have the Packers and the Lions in the first quarter. Lions have a 7-3 lead over the Packers. And the Aztecs, they take on Air Force this Saturday in Air Force, 5 p.m. kickoff. 3 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts at AleSmith Brewing right here on San Diego Sports 760. And this update is brought to you by Staples.
Lions just scored.
Okay, we got a lot going on. You got Lions, Packers tonight. Brent just celebrated because the Packers are losing. You've got what Jim just told you in the update, how the Padres need victories from both the Braves and the Mets tonight to remain alive for a playoff spot in the National League, that final wild card spot. As Jim alluded to, there was some ridiculous challenge in this Marlins-Mets game. For a moment, it appeared as if the Marlins took a 1-0 lead, long challenge, back to scoreless to the bottom of the 5th inning. Turn on your mic.
I know. But game day is like saying that the
game day won't give it up.
The Marlins are still batting with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Game day is a piece of crap.
I told you, man. If you are vested, if you're vested in game day, it's a big problem.
It's the worst app ever.
Just give me the games. It's the final week of the year. Can't they just give us the games for free everywhere? We're trying to even watch it. We have 7 televisions in here, or 6, maybe 7. 7.
We have 7, but
and I can't get a Mets Marlins update.
ESPN says it's still showing Marlins 1-0, but it's not. It's 0-0. We're definitely in the bottom of the 5th.
About it.
Yeah, we're definitely in the bottom of the 5th.
All right, what's this thing, this Jeff Passan thing?
Why don't we listen to it?
Oh, I mean, this is what? Him just talking?
It's about 2 minutes of Jeff Passan talking about this offseason with the Padres and the possibility
hold on.
Trading Juan Soto. What's happening?
And real quick, in 5 minutes, we'll give away Guns N' Roses tickets at Snapdragon Stadium. All right, this is Jeff Passan.
Could theoretically get down to around 200 without moving Juan Soto, right? Like, let's look at who's coming off. I mean, it's 30 million with Snell and Hader just off the top. It's 10 million with Pomerantz. It's, I mean, they already got rid of Jerks and Profar, but it's I think they're going to move Soto. I'm not positive about that. I just think that when it's all said and done, is this a championship team next year if you have Juan Soto on it? Is this a championship team with the rotation that you've got? No, it's not. And I'm sorry, but you have to cash in as much as you can if you're the Padres right now, because you are stuck with Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts into their 40s for hundreds of millions of dollars. And you have Fernando Tatis Jr. for 300 plus million still. And that's not a move. Like, it's 3 unmovable contracts right there. And so, yeah, you do have to move Juan Soto, and who should be in? Everyone. I mean, the Red Sox, yes. I think the Mets are a scary possibility for Juan Soto. And I think the Mets probably are in a better position to offer prospects to go out and get him, because I think Mets ownership has shown the aptitude and the desire to sign guys like Juan Soto long term that the Red Sox have not. And I understand Rafael Devers, thumbs up on that one. Sox stepped up there. But generally speaking, when it comes to free agents, especially their own, The Sox history is not particularly good when it comes to big dollar guys.
So Passan's like, yeah, I think they move him. Now, Hector Gomez, in a reply to a tweet earlier today, was like, yeah, I think they got a good chance to extend him.
I am going to go with what Jeff Passan says more than Hector
But he's
Gomez.
he's not reporting.
No,
anything.
he's just going off of speculation of things that I'm sure he's heard and he's seen, and he laid it out there pretty bluntly about kind of the mess the Padres are in financially with the big time contracts that are with a bunch of aging players into their 40s, that keeping Juan Soto long term doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Another reason why, for me, like Preller, bye-bye, because of the miscalculation of having signing Bogarts and giving the money to Darvish, and essentially kind of like
a 24-year-old,
like pricing yourself out of potentially giving that money to Juan Soto.
Yeah, I'm very surprised to hear as much speculation as we've heard regarding Soto's future and the idea he could be dealt this offseason. Not to say that that's oh my gosh, can you imagine if they moved him? We've talked about their payroll issues. Just for Jeff Passan to be saying in September that, I could see Soto being moved. He's laid out candidates and possibilities and payroll issues for the Padres. Like, yeah, that is a concern. That's definitely a concern.
Big concern, because the dude's going to get a $30 million 1-year deal in arbitration this offseason.
Yeah.
Final year of final year. And then he's a free agent. And he's going to get a massive payday. Can't tell me that's not going to be anything under 30 million, because it won't be. It'll be 30 to 35.
30 for what? Per year?
For Soto.
Per year?
For his arbitration.
Oh, yeah. But I thought you meant moving forward.
Oh, no,
it's going to be way higher
no.
than that.
No.
I put something out today where I tweeted. I had a million replies.
There you go.
To the point where I started muting it, because people were telling me, well, he already makes 23, so if you pay him 30, it's only plus 7, and if you eventually sign him to a deal that's 30 to 35 a year, it's only. I'm like, well, hold on.
Whoa.
He turned down 440.
Yeah.
You think he's signing 10 years, 300? Give me a break. If nothing else, he's getting $400 million. He may not get 440. If nothing else, the 24-year-old will get his $400 million. And if you extend him, I promise you this, he will get $400 million, which is 40 a year. That's a big, big chunk of money.
In the offensive season that Juan Soto put up this year, even though I will still argue it didn't give the impact that a type of season you get from this player.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I don't. Yeah. Just the numbers alone, that's a $35+ million player easy.
Yeah, at the age of 24, it is
easy. 35 to 40 million a year.
Yeah, he's gonna get paid like he's as good of a position player as there is in the game.
And so when you talk about this offseason, you have 12 players. I'll continue to repeat this. You have essentially 12 to 13 players making up around $200 million on this team if Juan Soto returns at $30 million for his arbitration this offseason. Added with other couple million here, couple million there for a couple other players with arbitration.
Yep.
Guys, yeah, that's a problem.
It's a problem. I don't know if it means they move Soto, but they may have to do something else to keep Soto.
If what the reports are saying is that this Padres team is not going to have even close to a $250 million payroll next year, and that payroll will go down to around 200.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Huge caveat. We'll hear from Eric Grupner. No matter what happens here this weekend, you're going to hear.
Eric Grupner has nothing to do with the payroll.
Well, no, yeah, I think he has a lot to do with the payroll. I think he's got a lot. I think the marketing success of the Padres has a lot to do with the payroll. I've heard Eric Grupner with Darren talk about payroll before. Well before this. Over the last couple of years, he's talked about payroll.
It makes no sense.
Why? He's the CEO. He shouldn't be doing baseball operations, but he should be in charge of the budget. It's not AJ Preller balancing that thing. I promise you that.
I mean,
AJ Preller's not in charge of the budget.
Any questions for Eric Grupner regarding roster and the roster payroll and moves?
No, not moves.
I'm kind of crazy to ask him.
But I think asking him or Peter or whomever, what's your payroll going to be? I think is an appropriate question. I don't think that's very out of turn for the CEO to be like, here's what our payroll is expected to be next year. it might be out of turn for him to be like, I think our roster is constructed poorly. I agree with that.
Eric, you need to go out there and you get us a good TV deal because we are.
And they may. And that's, I think, at least a possibility. Okay,
Maybe.
here's what we're going to do. Let's give away these Guns N' Roses tickets. Caller 7, they are yours. 844-570-1360. 844-570-1360. Caller 7, you've got 2 free tickets to see Guns N' Roses, Snapdragon Stadium. This is October 1st, which is when? Just a couple days away.
Next week.
Visit Ticketmaster.com for tickets and info. October 1st is Sunday. Visit Ticketmaster.com for tickets and info. And again, 2 tickets to Guns N' Roses. Call 844-570-1360. We'll continue to keep you updated on Atlanta and Chicago, also the Mets and the Marlins. Plus, on the other side of this break, we'll get to Jim's back page. That's next. All right. Will Jim Russell mention Taylor Swift in Jim's back page or not? That's next. All right, a scoring update. The Marlins looking to break through against the Mets at the top of the 6th inning, had 2 on and 2 out, but grounded out to end the inning. So still a scoreless game.
This thing is
okay.
I'm fully invested now.
I know you are.
I can't tell myself.
Atlanta's beating the Cubs tonight. They lead 5-1 in the 5th. I have no faith in the Cubs winning this game, which is good news for the Padres. So Padres fans, you need the Braves to hold on. They will. You need the Mets to beat the Marlins. Possible. Scoreless right now. Bottom of the 6th inning.
Wow.
And then we get to the weekend with the Padres alive. Who would have thought that? Final weekend of the year.
Thursday Night Football, it's now 14-3 Lions.
All right, so Lions on top of the Packers.
Packers are just...
Yeah. Goff threw an interception on the second play of the game, which gave the Packers the field goal. Then they went 3 and out on all their drives.
Packers are frauds!
Yep.
Okay. By the way, tomorrow, join us from Fair Play.
Final time.
North Park. We'll get you ready for Padres White Sox. Will it matter or not? Join us at Fair Play. What time's that game, did you say, tomorrow, Jim? 4:40?
4:40. 4:40 tomorrow, 4:40 Saturday, and then 12 o'clock noon Pacific on Sunday.
What time is it in Chicago, Brian? What, is Central?
It's 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Or 2 hours.
2 hours?
6:40.
Okay. So 6:40 start. All right. So join us from Fair Play, North Park. Like Jim just said, final broadcast of the season. Well, at least during the regular season for us on the road. All right. Let's get to it.
You wear hats like every day of the week. You have a million hats.
I do.
I'm sure your wife loves it.
Not really.
But New Era has come out with a new baseball cap for every single team in baseball. It's a theme hat.
Okay.
Go on.
The theme is it's the adventure.
The Cubs want to be blowing games in the 9th in September.
Well, no, it's like a universal theme one.
Oh, okay.
The Avengers Infinity Stone fitted baseball cap.
Wow.
So every team, right? Baseball cap, the logo is like a gold plate. And then they have the Infinity Stones on the side. If you know what the Infinity Stones are, John, it's from Marvels. Of course you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's what Thanos acquired.
Who? Dean?
Thanos, not Spanos.
And then the inside of the cap is a pretty cool Avengers like mural, like Avengers. Yeah.
Oh, that's look nice.
Yeah, it's like a black cap with a gold lettering, and then Infinity Stones on the side.
I like that.
So
how much are they? $199?
No, they're not $199, John. They are currently, pull this up. Oh, $79.99.
$79.99. Wow.
$79.99.
All right, but if you like it, maybe it's worth it. You wear hats a lot. If you're a hat guy, you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah,
you like that, Jim?
Not for $80.
True.
All right. So the Phillies are now in the postseason,
correct?
And they have come out with a new burger for Phillies postseason games called the Schwarburger.
Ooh, get it?
I get it.
Yeah, me too.
Schwarburger.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this freaking thing. Ready? This is like the how it's put together. All right. So the top of the burger is an onion ring. Then you have a bun.
Ooh.
Then you have 2 more onion rings. Then you have bacon. Then you have a cherry pepper relish. Then you have sharp American cheese. Then you have a half-pound burger. Then you have a half-pound of smoked brisket. And then a bun at the bottom.
Wow. Whoa. Look at that, Brent.
It looks like one of those like ridiculous Bloody Marys you see on the internet where they have like a whole rotisserie chicken in there.
This thing is
how much? How much is that? 80? Like the hats?
It doesn't say the price.
Can't be cheap.
Probably
that's
like
got to be 30.
$30.
Yeah. Plus the stadium food. Dude, I bet it's $40.
I mean, you can't even eat. You have to like
you
cut
need forks and knives.
It looks delicious.
It looks amazing.
I won't ruin it just in case. Is that the only Phillies story you have in the back page?
Yes.
What do you have?
Well, some Phillies fan tried to bring his pet crocodile into the stadium, and they told him to kick rocks because it's a freaking crocodile.
He's like, it's my emotional support animal. Like, it's a freaking alligator.
And now you can't bring crocodiles into games? What's next?
I thought this was America.
Yeah, really. You can't bring goats into games in Chicago? What a joke.
I have a Taylor Swift story.
Oh, my God.
God.
I'm leaving.
Simply Ranch, John. Actually, sorry. Seemingly Ranch. All right. Seemingly Ranch is the same type of ranch, I guess, that was used in the suite for Taylor Swift. Seemingly Ranch is selling limited edition Seemingly Ranch bottles while supplies last. Coming with the bottles is special friendship bracelets.
Come on, dude.
For Taylor Swift.
Stop.
And the friendship bracelets on it say Seemingly Ranch.
When marketing goes wrong, like, stop.
What do you mean?
Nobody needs that.
Why not?
Brent?
No.
Ollie Ranch. We don't need
Brent doesn't need
friendship
it.
bracelets with our ranch. How many bottles are available?
Does the friendship bracelet taste like ranch? So I get bored and just start chewing on it?
No, it's just a regular like friendship bracelet.
Lame.
Yeah. The Rolling Stones and Major League Baseball, John, are teaming up to release a limited edition vinyl of Hackney Diamonds.
Okay.
A 12-track album marks the band's first studio set of new material since 2005's A Bigger Bang.
So what is it, like, take me out to the ball game?
What's the meaning of Hackney Diamonds?
Yeah, what's that mean?
It's old East London slang phrase for broken glass.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so when's that coming out?
These vinyls will be released on October 20th.
Oh, for the World Series, maybe.
And they come out with special ones for each team.
Oh, cool. That's neat.
If you're a Padres fan, you want to go to rollingstones.com. You can pre-order there. The vinyl.
That's cool.
The front of the vinyl cover is obviously the Rolling Stones tongue logo.
Oh, that's cool.
And the SD. And it's yellow and brown.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, Mr. I was born in the 90s. Have you ever actually played a record?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I was just checking.
I have a record player.
Our house has a record
my
player
parents
too.
do.
Yeah. They're like in right now.
They are.
They're
huge.
It's
very cool.
We buy records at like Target now.
Yeah. You want one more?
Sure.
The Wilt Chamberlain 1972 NBA Finals Game 5 championship clinching worn LA Lakers jersey sold at an auction for $4.9 million yesterday.
A lot of money.
The jersey received just one bid, and that was it. They sold it.
I would have bid like $20 then.
$4.9 million.
Wow.
For Wilt Chamberlain's 1972 Finals NBA jersey.
Join us at Fair Play tomorrow. Kevin AC will join the show. So will Paul Garrison. We'll get you ready for San Diego State and Air Force on Saturday in Colorado Springs. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. Find us on social media at Jon and Jim. And for Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it right here. It's the all-new San Diego Sports 760. Okay.
So, dude.